very timely, right? Given what's going on in Europe, right? Russia, Ukraine, the dispute over natural gas. And this chapter will give you a very good, I think, basis for the current Ukrainian crisis. A lot of information, a little bit complex issue. And European gas market, I think, is going through some revolutionary changes. European gas market, due to U.S. shale revolution, right, is having a lot of changes, particularly Russian-European gas relations, right, are changing dramatically. So we need to look into the previous Russian-European gas connections, the past system, right? Then this past system is under a lot of, stress, pressure, right? Due to shale revolution, LNG market, right? And this author, I think he covers pretty much, very, expensive boundary of this issue. I think he does a very good job. I think it's worthwhile to read very carefully the entire chapter. A lot of information. Although he misses out on some important issues, but in general, I think he gives very well-balanced view on this issue, European gas crisis. I think, if you read my paper also addresses this issue. And, in understanding this issue, I think you need to have like two kinds of rooms. One room is like dedicated to the market understanding of gas issues, market side, right? LNG market changes, right? Those issues. But this author keeps emphasizing European gas issues are not just market business issues, right? Particularly when Russia is involved, it's about security issue, right? He keeps on mentioning that security implications are more important than business changes, right? So without considering these security implications, right, you cannot fully understand what's going on, why Russia does that, because Russia is using gas as a weapon, right? So Russia has larger agenda than simply gas or oil, right? So Russia is coming from much larger framework of understanding the energy, gas or oil, right? So he keeps emphasizing security implication is very important, or geopolitical implication is very important. Yeah, Europe, this is a fact. The fact is Europe is strategically dependent on Russian natural gas, right? This is the weakness. And the current global LNG market changes due to shale gas, U.S. shale revolution. We are having a window of opportunities to break up this dependence, right? So the debate is whether or not we can break up the monopoly, Russian monopoly, or Russian, strategic dependence on Russia. I think, what's the conclusion of his article, his chapter? He a little bit pessimistic, right? He's a little bit pessimistic about breaking up this Russian monopoly for various reasons, right? I think he gives several reasons. Right? I think it's important to catch those, from this chapter. Why he thinks that it's going to be difficult to break up Russian monopoly. Some are Europeans are to blame. In some sense, Europeans themselves, they are mishandling these issues, right? And European gas market itself must be reformed, right? So Europeans are very slow in reforming. He talks a lot about pan-European gas market, pan-European gas market. So without having a broad, right, liberalized European gas market on a European scale, dependence on Russia will continue. I think that's his conclusion. But the way things go now, pan-European gas market, in order for that to be formed, it's going to be difficult. Maybe take a long time, or it's not even impossible, because the split. He again emphasizes the weaknesses of the European gas market, which is split between East and West. Europe is split into two very different sub-regions, like a European section and Eastern section. Western European countries are more or less diversified, right? Western European countries, Western Europe, relatively diversified, high level of energy security. They have achieved high level of energy security. And gas market, relatively liberalized, okay? And he uses two important terms: commoditization, commoditization, and globalization. So how Europe handles these two challenges, commoditization and globalization. These are two challenges facing Europe. So Western Europeans are welcoming these two trends of the global market. Commoditization. Gas is becoming a commodity. Natural gas is becoming a commodity, right? That's commoditization. And gas market, like oil market, gas market is being opened, right? That's what it means, commoditization. Second, globalization. Globalization meaning European gas market is not isolated anymore. European gas market is connected to the global market. Western European gas market is being connected to the global market, right? But that's Western Europe. Eastern Europe, very different story. Very different story, right? So this split is the biggest hindrance to the formation of pan-European gas market. And because of this, Russia will continue to take Europe hostage. Because of this, the split, right? He gives three reasons why European gas market is undergoing changes or gas crisis. Three reasons. Number one reason is there is a rapid growth in consumption. Europeans are consuming more and more natural gas, right? Rapid growth in consumption until 2005. So from the 1990s until 2005, enormous growth in natural gas consumption. Second, imports are increasing, okay? Import dependence is going up, okay? More and more European countries are importing rather than, because indigenous production is declining. European production is on the decline, right? So that import dependence is going up. And long-term contracts are dominating the market, right? Dominance of long-term contracts. Well, I mean, what's this North Sea, right, of the British, right, Sea. They, since the discovery of oil there in the 1960s, there was an enormous production, but that is declining. So most decline comes from the European North Sea. And I'm not sure about Norway. Most producers, the UK, Norway, Denmark, these are main producers. And clearly North Sea is drying up, okay? And we need to see what's happening with Norway and Denmark. But overall, European production is on the decline. And this will come up again. Like I said, there is asymmetry, right? There is asymmetry. Some countries are more dependent on Russia, right? Eastern European, Central Eastern European countries are much more dependent on Russia. And this is a problem. And Russian policy is also a problem. And I think the Russian problem is just Putin problem. I think without Putin, Russia might have been very different, right? But Putin is Russia. So the threat posed by Russia is a problem for Europe, right? Imperialist policy, okay? And he finally points to this, and this is an important point of his chapter. Pan-European gas market is important, right? Which is lacking currently. Pan-European gas market. Asia, I think the way we discuss Asian natural gas market, challenges for Asian market, same. I think trading hub, same thing. We are discussing trading hub for the Asia Pacific natural gas market, same idea, right? We need much more competitive, right? Liberalized, open, right? So that natural gas market, price comes down, right? Same idea here. So Europeans need a competitive pan-European wholesale market, right? So up to here, right? Up to here, these are all problems facing Europe, right? Up to here. This one, some shock to the European system. There's a shock. Shock comes from the North American side, right? Shale revolution occurred, then LNG, right? Additional LNG available. Then LNG arrives in Europe. And this, right? This is making changes in the European market, right? And risks and problems began to disappear, right? Some good things are happening in Europe because of this. And Russian threats are watered down because of this, right? So risks, energy security risks are declining because of growing availability of LNG in Western Europe. Western Europe, not Eastern Europe, right? Western Europe. Changes are happening in Western Europe first and trying to, right, break into Eastern Europe, but Eastern Europes are still like a Berlin Wall, right? Nothing happens inside the Eastern Europe, right? And again, another good thing, another new change, Nord Stream is open. Nord Stream is open. Nord Stream linking Russia, Europe. Maybe it sounds a little bit strange why this is a good thing, right? Still Russian pipeline, right? This is a Russian pipeline. I mean, Russian exports through German managed undersea pipeline. This is Nord Stream, opened 2012. But this is a good thing because this pipeline diversifies, right? Diversifies, like sort of supplies to Europe. Because one of the problems facing Europe up to here, right? Up to here was Russian supplies coming through only a couple of, Eastern European countries, Ukraine, Belarus, right? Moldova, these countries, right? And when there's a problem, dispute between Ukraine, Russia, right? Europeans are frozen, right? Because there's disruption, right? So to get around that Ukrainian-Russian dispute, there's a new pipeline open. So this is a good thing for Europeans. Diversifies, right? Sort of a get around, bypass Ukraine, right? As a transit. So this is a good thing, but still depend on Russia. This is in a sense, another problem, but still is a good thing, right? Diversifies. Bypassing Ukraine, this is important. Bypassing Ukraine. So there are two things. Europeans imports more LNG, right? More LNG. That way, bypass Russia, right? Second, Europeans import Russian natural gas, bypassing Ukraine. These two aspects, right? Sort of these two things help Europeans improve energy security. Gas market changes in Europe. So EU gas imports are being diversified, right? This is a good thing. But still problem is the EU is split between East and West. So Western Europe, a lot of gas consumption, right? Major consumers, and a lot of imports, okay? And energy security relatively high. This is Western Europe. But Eastern Europe, gas markets are small, right? And highly depend on Russia. So that there is energy insecurity, right? This is the contrast. Energy security in West, energy insecurity in the East. So for Europeans, I think the big challenge for Europeans is how you connect, right, the West and East, so that there is a common European gas market, right? Breaking the wall between West and East. That's the challenge for Europeans. And winning Eastern Europeans away from Russian protection. That's the challenge. On the other hand, I mean, you can expect Russians, they don't want to lose at least Eastern Europe, right? So that's the battle between Russia and Europe and America. Now let's look at this. It shows how much and which country is more, more dependent than others on Russia, right? Very different levels of different dependence on Russia. Most dependent region is Baltic, 100%. Baltic depends on Russia 100%. Then goes down from this, Bulgaria, right? Central Eastern European, very high. Central Eastern European countries are very highly dependent on Russia. Up to Hungary, right? They are very dependent. Then goes down a little bit if you go over to Slovenia, right? Poland, Turkey, Czech goes down a little bit. Greece, Germany 37%, right? Actually, Germany and France, they have special, Italy. Germany, France, Italy, they have special relationship with Russia. Special foreign policy relations, but special gas relations with Russia, right? Then this is Western, right? Western and Northwestern Europe. Northwestern, most secure. Northwestern, most secure. And globalized. So Northwestern market is more connected to maybe LNG, right? LNG and the North American, Middle Eastern LNG, right? So this clearly shows how the European continent is like a divided or different. And this itself, I think, depends on the geography, right? Why they are dependent on Russia? Because of the geography, right? They don't have open access, open seas, right? They are landlocked, right? And on the other hand, Northwestern Europeans, they have open seas. They can open LNG terminals, right? So it all depends on where you are located, the geography. This is complex map, which indicates a lot of different pipelines. Let's first look at where Russian gas flows into Europe. This is how Russian gas moves from Western Siberia, moves here, right? Belarus, goes through Belarus, then reached out to Poland, Germany. This is famous Yamal pipeline, maybe 40 years old, more than 40 years old pipeline, right? And another one, Brotherhood pipeline. This is Yamal pipeline. Brotherhood pipeline goes through Ukraine. This is a highly controversial pipeline. Ukraine, then split, right, into Slovakian and these countries, right? It's like a blood vessel, right? Russia, right, reaches out to many different countries, and this is Russian power, right? Hungary, so they are very dependent. This section, very dependent on Russia. Also culturally, right, very dependent. And in terms of geography, they are landlocked, right? No outlet to the outside world. And Moldova also. One section, one branch goes down to Moldova, right? Moldova. Which means the current row between Russia and Ukraine can also happen between Moldova and Russia. Okay? And between Belarus and Russia. So Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, they are very vulnerable to Russian pressures. Yes?
Where does it come from, the gas, like mostly, in Russia?
Western Siberia.
Western Siberia?
Yeah, Western Siberia. They are developing one other of the Arctic Sea. So that will be provided maybe through LNG ships to many different countries. But most of traditional supplies to Europe coming from Western Siberia. No. Okay. Now, this is Russian, right? Blood vessels, right? So to counter these Russian pipelines, there are new so-called new pipelines that provide much more flexibility, diversity to Europeans. And these new pipelines, one, Nord Stream. This is Nord Stream. Okay, down to Germany. So linking Germany and Russia. This is Nord Stream. Okay, this bypasses these problematic countries. But I said this is a good thing, but still in terms of European energy policy, this is only bilateral German-Russian pipeline, right? So it gives a little bit of flexibility, but it's not enough. Okay, it's not enough. More important pipelines, probably from European perspectives, will be these southern ones. Okay, because these are still from Russia, right? If you go down here, a lot of potential suppliers here, like Central Asia. So when Europeans think about like bypassing Russian supplies, Germans, I mean, in their mind, they look to Russia, but other Europeans, Brussels, they look down to southern countries like Central Asia, Middle East here, so that this pipeline, like linking Europeans to the southern or Central Asian, Middle Eastern countries, this is called Southern Gas Corridor. This is a very ambitious pipeline that bypasses or weakens Russia. Southern Gas Corridor. Right? If this is realized, implemented, this will enormously weaken Russian grip on Europe. The Southern Gas Corridor. And you might want to do some research on what's going on over this Southern Gas Corridor. Nabucco. Why don't I'll show you this first. Southern Gas Corridor. Southern Gas Corridor is access to non-Russian gas from European perspectives. As part of the Southern Gas Corridor project, this is an important project. TANAP, Trans-Anatolian Pipeline. This was agreed June 2013, just 7 or 8 months ago, TANAP. Linking Azerbaijan, Turkey. Okay, then from Turkey goes to Greece, Yugoslavia and Greece, Italy. This is TAP. So TANAP up to here, TANAP, Azerbaijan, Turkey, then linked to like a Balkan. TAP section. This is TAP, TANAP. So this linking of TAP and TANAP is very important. Southern Gas Corridor, one of Southern Gas Corridor projects. One branch go up, which is called Nabucco West. Nabucco West. This is Nabucco West. This is part of Southern Gas Corridor project. This shows some more details. Okay. So the original production site is Azerbaijan, called Shah Deniz gas field. So it begins with Azerbaijan, Shah Deniz gas field. Then from this, this is South Caucasus pipeline. This is. Okay, so through Azerbaijan, Georgia, then reaching Turkey. This is South Caucasus pipeline. Then this is TANAP. TANAP. Right? And Nabucco West up to Austria. Top is all the way to Italy, Greece, Italy. Right? The original plan, I mean, TANAP, TAP, Nabucco West, these are more current ones. The original plan was Nabucco. Nabucco failed. Right? Nabucco was only a plan. Then Nabucco failed. Instead, TANAP, TAP was adopted. Okay? Just for your information, in terms of LNG flows, this is Europe. I mean, somehow this doesn't appear here. This is Europe, Western Europe. This is Asia. These are suppliers, LNG suppliers. And Trinidad and Tobago, 10 BCM provides to, this is Central America and Latin America. So Trinidad and Tobago flows to Central America, Latin America. And Algeria, all of Algeria reaching Europe, Western Europe. Most of Nigeria reaching Europe, Western Europe. Some Nigerian exports go down to Asia. Right? Qatar is an important country. Half goes to Europe, half goes down to Asia. And all the rest, mostly Asian exports. Like I said, Western Europe, there is supply diversity. Supply diversity. Because of Nord Stream first, 2011. And Northwestern European gas market is being transformed, right? Is being globalized. More LNG provided to Northwestern market. And also shale gas prospects. Sorry. Shale gas prospects also a little bit more brighter, right, in Northwestern Europe. So because of these, there is supply diversity in Western Europe. But let's look at Central Europe. There is supply insecurity in contrast. And the split between Western Europe, Eastern Europe have even widened, right, since 2008. And Eastern Europe more exposed to the risk of Ukrainian transit disruption. And process of two important trends. Commoditization, using his term, globalization didn't happen Eastern Europe. And shale gas prospects also very disappointing in Central and Eastern Europe. So this combines to define supply insecurity in Central Eastern Europe.
I want to ask about Poland. Because Poland has some.
Second biggest reserve.
Yeah, and they are planning on starting.
Right. Poland and Ukraine.
And Ukraine.
Right. So, right. But here, I mean, more recent, information coming from Poland, Ukraine, there is some disappointment. Some major companies, they left, right? And some other, disappointing outcomes. And we need to see, what will happen in Poland, Ukraine. Because some of the counter information, Russians having sort of a, counter shale campaign. Russia is spreading some misinformation regarding, Ukraine and Poland. So we need to be careful. But it's a fact that there are some disappointing, results coming out of Ukraine and Poland. So we need to carefully watch what will happen in the future. This is another way of looking at, Russian pipeline, like I said, there are different directions coming from Russia. Number one, Nord Stream. This is Nord Stream, right? Began in Vyborg, undersea pipeline, right? Under the Baltic Sea, then reaching, Germany. This is new pipeline, Nord Stream, and this is on the plan. Okay, this is on the plan. Second. Number three is traditional Yamal pipeline. Okay, and there are several other. We need to pay attention to this. 7, South Stream. Where is South Stream? Here. South Stream, this is Russian pipeline, Russian project. Okay? This is a counter project to Southern Gas Corridor. TANAP-TAP. TANAP-TAP is Western project. And as a counter project, Russia is developing South Stream project. Almost the same location. Almost same countries. South Stream looking at, you see, these countries, Central Eastern Europe and Balkan countries. So target market almost same. So there is competition between South Stream, which is Russian project, and Southern Gas Corridor over Balkan region. Now, what's happening regarding so-called single gas market? Right? Is the EU going to have a pan-European single gas market? Right? What's going on about the single gas market? Some important moves about single gas market. Looking at this, crisis facing Europe, Brussels is pushing for some important policies to build a single gas market. But there are some questions being asked about the concept itself and approaches they are having. There are some problems. Okay, EU approaches to single gas market. Ideas are good, but implementation is not that efficient. A lot of questions are being asked. So the outcome is almost a patchwork of all different national gas systems, right? Just a collection of national gas systems so that there is no, right, overarching new, like a system. So looking at these measures and policies, this author is not clear whether the policy design can achieve real pan-European market. External gas supply policy. So EU internally, right, building competitive single market internally. Externally, EU as a countermeasure to Russian energy policy, EU is implementing some external gas supply policy, which is Southern Gas Corridor policy. Most important one, Southern Gas Corridor policy, right? Which is to have access to non-Russian gas. Non-Russian gas. Non-Russian gas, most important source, Azerbaijan.
Are there other sources as well?
Yeah, Azerbaijan first, right? Then Turkmenistan. But to get Turkmenistan gas into the European system, you need to build undersea pipeline, because Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, there is a Caspian Sea. You need to build Caspian undersea pipeline, and Turkmenistan is very careful because Russia is putting pressure on Turkmenistan. So Turkmenistan, again, like Ukraine, Belarus, similar position. But Europeans are encouraging Turkmenistan to provide natural gas to European market rather than Russian pipeline. Because Turkmenistan has two options. Turkmenistan can sell natural gas directly to the European market through Azerbaijan and Southern Gas Corridor. That's one option. Second option, Turkmenistan sells natural gas indirectly through Russian pipeline. No direct sale to the European market, which is what Russia is asking. Right? And also Iran. So Europeans have three sources: Azerbaijan, Central Asia, Middle East. Iran, Iraq. Even Iran-Iraqian natural gas can be connected to TANAP, TAP. Right? But Iraq is in crisis, right? We looked at this. Now, impact of global LNG. What's the impact of global LNG? We discussed this already. First, global LNGs are so-called commodizing the European market. Commodizing. The definition: much more flexible short-term market is being created in Western Europe, right? Particularly Northwestern Europe. Natural gas is emerging as a commodity in Northwestern Europe. And second, European gas system is being connected to global LNG market. Right? This is the impact of so-called shale revolution. And these market changes come with geopolitical impacts. Geopolitical impact means weakening of Gazprom European gas company relationship. This traditional special relationship between Gazprom and European gas company is being weakened. That's the impact of global LNG. European LNG market changes. I mentioned this also in the very beginning of this class, beginning of this semester. First, shale revolution in U.S. Okay, shale revolution. Second, LNG imports, LNG ships that were destined, bounded for the American market change directions, right? Then looking to Western European market. And these LNGs, spot prices. Okay, spot prices. So these changing LNG ships from North American market, arriving in the European market, Western European market, Northwestern European market, particularly the UK. UK has a gas hub. Price there called NBP, National Balancing Point. Which is cheaper? Spot prices and UK hub price cheaper than oil indexed prices. This is the beginning of change, right? And happen to be European economies are in recession, right? 2008 global financial crisis, right? Gas consumption going down, right? Because of economic downturn. Oil prices instead rising, right? And like I said, there is a rapid growth in global LNG exports from Middle East. Mostly Qatari ships, So a lot of Qatari flexible ships arriving in Western Europe. And new LNG import facilities are being constructed, okay, in Western European countries. Now, what happened next is oil-indexed gas importers, they began to lose money because of these changes. Right? Traditional gas companies that were importing natural gas based on oil index prices, they began to lose money because of these new opportunities, new changes. Then what happens? I think there was something here, down. Then what happens? This is a question. Then what happened? Huh? These losing gas companies, what do? Go to Russia, go to Gazprom, sue them, right? Asking for discount. That's what happened next. Now, then another change, shale gas development began. Shale gas development began first Western Europe. And this chapter discusses, particularly the UK debate, how UK shale gas debate evolved. UK shale gas debate evolved against the background of some of the larger energy security debate in the UK. And this author argues that despite this globalization of Western European gas market, there emerged some new security concerns, energy security concerns. For instance, the UK energy security debate unluckily, UK is undergoing some transition from self-sufficiency, like I said, right? Declining North Sea, right, production. Because of that, UK is moving into like an import dependence period. He thinks that level of energy security is still high in the UK, but government thinks that growing import dependence on LNG supplies from Africa and Qatar is a big problem for the UK. This is government assessment. So because of that, and another thing, this is very important. Another point, the UK depends on Qatar, okay? But Qatar, as you saw in the figure, Qatar, same distance between Europe and Asia, right? That is called, Qatar is arbitrage exporter. In other words, Qatar can make the most of arbitrage position, right? Shift back and forth between Europe and Asia. And UK thinks that they have to compete with Asian market, okay? So this poses security problem for the UK in particular, or for Western Europe in general. And this is really what happened. In other words, after Fukushima, a lot of Qatari ships changed directions again, then head to Asian market, leaving Western Europe. So this is true. So this is how shale gas speeded up in the UK, right? And shale gas explorers, they became winners in this energy security debate. And this company discovered shale gas deposits in 2011, Lancashire, right? And pretty big amount. But because of seismic activities, the government sort of banned fracturing, but only temporary suspension, then soon resumed in 2012. And currently, I think the UK relatively wide political consensus compared to other countries. And UK might become the first place for commercial shale gas production in Europe. And other countries elsewhere, not that bright. France, there's complete ban. Sweden, Germany, geologically, yes, okay, but politically low. Okay, geologically yes, politically no. Public opposition, right? And some of the results are not that promising. And another challenge for shale gas, probably in the European context, will be renewable subsidies, right? Renewable subsidies. So in order for gas to be enjoying golden age in Western Europe, I think gas must win with renewables and cheap coal, right? Otherwise, shale gas cannot be adopted as a major source of energy. Decarbonization. He thinks that for Europeans, not natural gas, carbon capture technology must be more important than natural gas. That's his recommendation. This map shows where shale gas production is much more active. This indicates moratorium, and this indicates permission, and this indicates this indicates only allow, right? This indicates ongoing permission or some exploration. So, right, Netherlands banned, Luxembourg banned, France, Czech, right? These are moratorium areas. How about in terms of allow? Norway, right? Norway thinks, okay. Where is this? Latvia. Latvia, okay. Bosnia, okay. Croatia, okay. Ongoing production, Portugal, Spain, Austria, Slovenia. Right? There are more okay areas than no areas. Russia. How Russia looks at shale? Russia is being frustrated. Over the last several years, Russia has denied, right, shale gas prospects. Right? And European gas market changes, Russia have denied. Right? Meaning that Russia argues oil index system will continue. Right? Price will be still high. That's Russian argument. Right? They think that all these changes are just anti-Russian campaign, politically motivated anti-Russian campaign. Like I said, there is a 40-year special relationship between Gazprom and Western European gas companies, and also government level special relationship, particularly Germany, Russia, special relationship. But Europeans, I mean, he argues, the author argues that the special relationship with Russia cannot go on, because Europeans are finding that Russia doesn't give supply security, right? Particularly these countries. France, Germany, Italy, they are discovering. Right? It's time to part with special relationship with Russia, so that improving energy security in Europe. How about Eastern Europe? Because of Eastern Europe, right? Why no European, pan-European gas market? Because of Eastern Europe. There is no European gas market yet, right? Unless otherwise some changes are made into the European section. So it's like a Berlin Wall of gas, right? So gas wall has not coming crumbling down, right? To break down this wall, he proposes several changes, right? In other words, to break down this wall, we need to open access to previous pipelines, these pipelines. And some changes are already appearing, right, in this direction. Like I said, TANAP, right? TAP, this is one indication. And internal deregulation is important, right? So first, third-party access to the pipeline is important, right? And second, internal deregulation is important. Poland, Romania, these are important markets, relatively large gas market. But Poland, Romania, despite the size, their gas market is highly regulated. Problem is price. Price, right? Regulation mostly over price. Price is subsidized. So domestic gas prices in Poland, Romania much cheaper than import price. This is a huge problem. So we need to realign, bring up these internal gas prices in Poland, Romania, so that equalize this price with import price. When this price realigns with import price, then changes will occur. LNG will be imported, right? Because this subsidy, government subsidy for natural gas prices, are destroying incentives to bring in non-Russian natural gas, particularly LNG. Same as in China today. So that's why, like I said, Qatari, flexible volumes, they didn't penetrate at that time into Eastern European market. 2009, right? Czech Republic, relatively open, because Czech Republic is, natural gas market there is connected to Germany. So Czech is an exception. Some prospects in the Czech Republic. Okay.